Uh-huh.
All right. Well, episode one. Welcome to Outlaws of Opinion, where the rules do not apply and the truth doesn't hold back. Um, this is a no spin, no sugarcoating type of podcast, and we will not walk on eggshells. This space is for voices that refuse to be silenced, the conversations that others just won't touch, and the real grit that powers most of our nation. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Today, our first guest of the show is actually my father. His name is Bob, and we're going to be discussing. Well, a topic that I wanted to get into about law enforcement and why nobody trusts the law and the Department of Justice. So, Bob, we got you on the line, right?
You got it, buddy.
All right, all right. Everybody, this is my dad, by the way. So, therefore, it uh it won't be as professional as most, but we'll try and keep it clean. So, my dad sent me an article today about a prison escape that he did in 2000. It was 2008, right?
2007.
2007. Which somehow I got wrapped up into, which was crazy. But um, well, after reading that article and reading the article he sent me today, it's very clear that they lied about a lot of things. And nobody knows the prison system better than my father, who did 16 years in the prison system and got fucked every which way. So when he sent me that article, I about shit my pants because it's got my name in it again. And it talks about how essentially this prison that he was in and got out of was shut down and demolished all because of his escape. So, Dad, why don't you go ahead and give us a walkthrough of how this shit all started?
Well, I mean, it originally started when you go to prison, you get like a minimum and a maximum sentence, right? Like a 2 to 5, 3 to 15, 3 to 20, right? What have you, right? So you try to do your minimum, take all your little courses that they tell you to take, and they, try to tell you that, yeah, we're going to release you if you do this and that. So I did all that, and they just refused to let me go. So I decided, well, if you're not going to let me go, I'm just going to leave. So
He
I was
said,
in
fuck
a
it, I'm out.
right. You're not going to let me go. I've done everything you told me to do. Every time I go in front of the parole board, just going to say, well, we're just not going to let you go. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. So they put me in Camp Ranch, which is in Coldwater, Florida, or Coldwater, Michigan. Sorry. And I got to looking around and seeing that it's pretty easy to escape from this place. If you got any kind of common sense.
Well, why is it
But
so easy? How did you deem it so easy to escape? Like what did you see that you were just like, "Oh, I can fucking do this." You know what I mean?
because, our government are morons, right?
Well, we kind of know that.
Right. So the main reason being is that the Coldwater Correctional Facility was never built as an actual correctional facility. Coldwater institution built in 1948, something around there. And all they did was they put a fence around it and decided they're going to make it into a prison, right? So it was never built secure, like to their needs. Well, they thought it was. They thought it was secure,
Yeah,
but
clearly
it isn't.
not because I don't
Right.
think you're the only person that escaped out of there.
No, I'm not. Right. But I'm the only one that got it shut down and demolished. That's the difference, right? So they put a fence around a mental institution and they called it a prison. And if you remember, Dr. Jack Kevorkian was placed at Coldwater.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I do remember that.
Okay, I was
Now,
at
was
Coldwater.
he in there at the same time as you?
Yes, I know. I know Dr. Jack. I used to argue with him all the time because we had garden plots, and he wanted to grow radishes, and you couldn't grow radishes all year. And he was a rat he would rat on us, like if we tried to plant peppers or whatever, right, in our garden plots, right? He was a scumbag. Let's put it that way, right? He told on everybody. So everybody got like really pissed off at Jack, and he was dying. So they decided to, through the Michigan courts, to release Dr. Kevorkian. Well, he died maybe, I don't know, about 8 months later.
Yeah, it
Right.
wasn't too long after because I remember seeing it
Right.
in the news.
Right. Remember when they let him go? Right.
Yeah.
I was on the yard at the time, walking the yard, smoking a cigarette that I wasn't supposed to smoke because they took the cigarettes out, but I grew tobacco, so I had cigarettes. Anyway,
Wait,
we're
you
watching
grew
heli.
tobacco?
Well, we used to be able to smoke in prison, right? And then in 2000 and I'm going to say, God, I can't remember the year. I'm going to say like 2012, they took out the tobacco, right? So we couldn't buy cigarettes anymore. But we would get it smuggled in, of course, through the crooked cops, through the crooked COs, right? They brought in crooked, cell phones. People don't understand that when you're in prison, the COs, which we call the correctional officers, they bring in everything: drugs, cell phones, cigarettes, hookers, whatever, right?
Oh wow,
That's how,
you're exposing it all. All the COs are. I mean, I can't. You
yeah.
probably can't say all of them, but there's definitely some dirty ones. I
No, no,
assume.
no. Yeah, not all of them, of course not, right? It's just the same with law enforcement, right? You got dirty cops, you got good cops, right? It's the same in the prison system. But for the most part, yeah, they just bring in everything, right? If I could buy, like, the cheap $40 cell phone, right? They'll take that cell phone, they'll bring it in, they'll sell it to an inmate for 1,000, right? So now he has a cell phone. Now he has access to the internet inside of prison, which is a no-no, right? Now he can broadcast what goes on inside of prison to the outside world. That is a no-no.
Well,
But
yeah.
you have to,
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
nowadays they let these guys have tablets
No,
and
they don't. Well, they do, but this is what you have to understand. There's a company called JPay. All right. This is how we communicate with our fellow inmates, our family inmates inside of prison. Okay. So we deal with them, and that's totally secure, according to them. Right. So we can talk to each other. Right. They don't allow access to any inmate to the outside internet. Right. So it's a JPay thing. Right. So what happens is people get, the cops bring in cell phones so that inmates can access the actual web, the actual internet, right? They post pictures, they post photos, right?
oh yeah, they're all over TikTok now. They're on TikTok
Right,
Live
right,
and shit.
right, right. These are all illegal. They're totally illegal, right? You're not supposed to be able to do that. But what they're doing is, you know, you got your gangbangers that are posting goofy stuff, goofy shit, right? On that. But the problem is this shuts them down because people are posting things on phones that are illegally brought in, and they're showing what the fake prison and the fake government and the fake news are doing. And that's why they can't stand it.
All right,
Right.
so let's get back to why how this came about. You were talking about Jack Kevorkian and growing tobacco and shit.
Yeah. So Jack Kevorkian was a scumbag. He was a little rat. I mean, I don't have anything against the guy for, doing the whole, if you want to kill yourself, I'll give you the stuff to kill yourself, and it should be legal, right? That was the whole deal in Michigan, right? Where assisted suicide was supposed to be like legal. That's what Jack Kevorkian got convicted of,
Which, by the way,
right?
in Canada, I guess it is legal.
Yeah, you see now they have an epidemic of people killing themselves,
Yeah,
right? And it's getting like out of control. So that was the whole story why they locked up Jack Kevorkian, right?
right, right. Now, how does it pertain? Like, again, we're going back to how you decided to do this and how you did it.
Well, how I decided to do it was, you know, I did, I got, you have to look at what I got sent to prison for, right?
Right, and I don't think anybody. Why don't you tell everybody who's going to listen why you got sent to prison?
No, I don't know. You want me to tell them that?
Well, I mean, you just said you have to understand why I went to prison.
Right. Okay. So I got divorced. Um,
By the
my
way,
ex-wife.
this is my life everybody's hearing right now.
Well, right. This is right. This is not just my story, brother. It's yours because you're my boy. Okay. So when I got divorced from your mother, you know this. All right. Um, things went south, like they always do. And I allowed her to come back to our house. And your older brother, Nicholas, got really mad. He said, Dad, don't let her come back. He just despised what your mother did because she ran off with some clown that worked at like an Insty Lube place up the road.
Yeah, Gino.
Right. So what happened was I let her come home, and Nick's like, your brother, Nicholas, was like, Dad, she's staying with this guy at this motel. I want to go down and, you know, I just want to tell her what a piece of shit that I think she is. And I'm like, well, I don't see anything wrong with that. Right. So I said, but look, we're going to go down there. We're going to go down there 2 or 3 tough. I'm not going down there by myself. Right. To bury this. So when we get there, Nick goes to talk to her.
And
And
you don't have to tell the whole story, like get into detail. You can
right.
just
Well,
summarize it.
right. The whole thing that happened was he went to confront her. He got beat up by a guy. I went to defend him. The guy came after me. The owner of the motel shot through the door, killed my son. I went to prison. If you want to look at it that way, that's pretty much the gist of it, right?
All right. Well, now that we know why you went to prison,
Right, right. So I go to prison. I do my time. They gave me 3 to 20. I get out. I come home. They decide that, oh well, you smoked a little weed. We're going to send you back to prison. So back to prison I go.
yeah, I remember you got out and went back a few times.
Right, right. All it was I smoked a little weed. Right, you're going back to prison.
Which I
Right.
mean, it was against your parole though, so it's not like
Well, yeah.
you know.
Did I violate parole? Yes, I did. Right. I'll admit, yes, I did. Right. But here's the thing: there's plenty of parole violators that not only smoke weed, smoke crack, do coke, whatever. Right. They don't get sent back.
No, I
They
think
get
it was more so of a you thing.
No, they get right. They get sent to like a rehab, right? And they're fine and they get let go. Me, no. I got sent directly back to prison, right? Fuck you. You're going back to prison. See you later,
Well, they
right?
did send you to rehab once, didn't they? They sent you to Harbor Oaks.
Yeah, they tried it, right? And I was like, you know, fuck this, right? I'm like, you guys are sending me somewhere that I didn't do anything for, right? And they decided that, oh, well, you violated parole, so you're going back to prison, right? So anyway, I go back to prison. No big deal, right? So out of a 3 to 10 year sentence, I wound up doing 15. Is what happened, right? So, but that has nothing to do with like the whole story. It really doesn't. So what happens is when you go to prison, you get like you have a minimum and a maximum sentence. Say you get a 2 to 5, 3 to 15, 3 to 20, right? Means you do the minimum of 3, then you go to the parole board. And the parole board decides whether they're going to release you or not, right? So after 3 years and you do everything you're supposed to do, you take all the programs that they tell you to take and you do everything good and you ace them, you should get a parole. Well, which I did. I did everything. I aced them. Then they decided, nah, we're not giving you parole. You're going to do another. They can give you a flop, which means a flop means you're going to get an extension, right? You're going to go back to you're not going to get released. You're going to do either a 12-month, 18-month, or 24-month continuance. So they would always give me a 12-month continuance. Means you got to do another year,
Now, do you
right?
think this was a you thing, or do you think it was? Do you think it was because they were like trying to make an example out of you?
Well, it's exactly they were trying to make an example out of me, right? It's exactly what it was, right? Just like look, you have to understand that the state of Michigan is totally blue and to the left, right? So their understanding or their push was that anybody that didn't do what they said, you're getting 12, 18, or 24 months continuance, right? So
Right.
they always gave me 12 months continuance, right? Always. And then they gave me an 18 one time, which really surprised me, right? Because it was like, wait a minute. You give me 12 months every time. I didn't do anything different. Why are you giving 18 months now? Right. So they wouldn't let me go. So after 4 of these, I decided, okay, you bitches ain't letting me go. So I'm smart enough. I can figure out how to escape from this punk ass place you have. I'm just going to leave. Right. I do everything you ask me to do. And yet every single time I see you every year, you tell me you're not letting me go. Okay. I'm going to leave. That's when I planned the escape. And I planned it quickly, easily, made it work, walked out, everything, right? Embarrassed the living shit out of them,
Now,
right?
now, how did you do it though? Like, what exactly did you do? You know what I mean? Like,
Look, here's the thing. They placed me at the cold water facility, which was Camp Branch, right? It was the only, which was really cool, it was the only air conditioned prison in the state of Michigan, which I thought was fantastic, right? Because it was hot as shit dealing anywhere else, right? So I get placed in Camp Branch. It's air conditioned, and I'm walking around, and I keep seeing these doors at the bottom. You know, it's 2 stories, right? Well, yeah, we're like upstairs, downstairs, and we have bunks upstairs. So I'm looking at it, and it says mechanical maintenance room, and I said mechanical maintenance room. Okay. Well, I knew a guy that worked mechanical maintenance. He said there ain't no mechanical maintenance in there. He said all that is a doorway to the steam tunnels that run underneath all these facilities because this entire Michigan correctional facility was never built as a prison. This was simply a mental institution built in 1948, and they just put a fence around it and said, we're just going to lock inmates in here, right? That's how stupid these people are, right? They never secured it, nothing. They just put a fence around it. So I said, okay, I can figure out how to get in that room. So I took a dumbbell from the weight pit, right? And I busted a hole through the wall and went in there. And I was like, oh, there's no mechanical maintenance in here. There was a stairwell going down to steam tunnels that were built in 1948, bro. 1948, right? From a mental institution. I get down there, the lights are on, it's totally lit. So I walk down the way, you know, I know where I'm going. I want to go outside the prison. So when I hang a right and I go down, there's just like this little grate, and it's got a little mini master lock on it, like, you know, like the size of like your watch. So I take the dumbbell that I had and I hit it one time and it busted it. I opened it up and I continued, right? And I walked out, went through a tunnel, and I came out into a, a medical facility that was closed down for years outside the prison complex, right? Not inside, outside. So when I popped out, I opened the door and walked out and stood out in the front lawn, and I was on Marshall Road, right? Right in front of the prison, outside the prison. I could have literally walked 10 feet to the road and just hitchhiked. You can grab somebody in a car and took off. And I decided, okay, now I know that I can get through. I'm going back because I need a ride. So I went back, went to bed, had everything set up. But that I was doing this with decided to rat and, you know,
yeah, that was
expose.
Bobby Bosom, right, or whatever his name was.
Yeah, Robert. But well, what he did was he told his bunkie, you know, his cellmate, listen, you can have all of my stuff. You can have all of my belongings. And the guy's like, why are you giving me all your shit? He said, "Cause I'm out of here tomorrow, bro. My buddy Bob, man, we done penetrated. We're leaving. You can have
Worst
all my
fucking idea ever.
exactly
Why
total
would you?
fucking
I mean, I'm
right,
not, don't get me wrong. I'm
right,
not condoning to defy the prison system and to escape. That's not
right.
what I'm condoning. But why,
No,
if you're going to do something foolish like that, why in the fuck would you tell somebody?
right, because he's a dumbass, right?
And his name,
So
how do you pronounce his name? Robert Bosom?
Robert Bosom, right?
Well, if Robert Bosom's listening, you're a fucking idiot.
Right. So listen. We called him Red, right? Because he's red hair, right? So all we knew him as Red, right? So he tells his bunkie, "Here, you can take all my shit, all my property, because everybody in prison wants anything that you have, right? Like if you're leaving, if you get a parole, right, and you have like certain possessions, they're like, hey, bro, you're leaving, can you give that to me, right? Which I understand, right?
Yeah, I get it.
Right. And so you give like your homeboy all of your stuff. Here, take it, right? But
Especially
he
if they
does
don't have it already. You know what I
right,
mean?
right. So he did this, and the guy's asking him, "Why are you giving me all your shit?" Right? And he's like, "Because we're busting out of here tomorrow." Well, oh shit. So this guy thinks that he's going to get like special treatment if he turns an escapee in. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, and we all know how that goes. You don't really get
Right.
good
He's a
treatment like
rat.
that.
Right. Right. He's a fucking rat. He wants to talk like, I'm gonna turn in the guys that's gonna escape and I'm gonna get special treatment, right? This is how these fucking scumbags think.
Now, did he
Right?
ever get any special treatment?
Fuck no, he got put in a hole. You know why? Because he knew about the fucking escape.
And never
This is
told
how
anybody.
right. This is how dumb these idiots are, right? So he tells everybody, these guys are going to escape tomorrow. I know it all. I know everything. I'm the cool guy. I'm going to get, special treatment. They bust us the next morning, right? Fucking alarm goes off, right? Uh, what everybody gets locked down, right? And I'm like, oh shit. I already knew what's up. I already knew. I said, all right, we're in trouble, right? So they lock us all down, put us in the gym, and they come calling names. Schlentz. And I'm like, oh shit. This is it, right? They come get me. So you don't like it here, huh? I'm like, no, it's prison. Of course I don't like it here, asshole. And he's like, so you planned on escaping? I'm like, what are you talking about? We got everything. We got all the info on you. I'm like, really? What do you got? Well, we got everything. I'm like, what do you got? Well, we got everything. You're going to talk to the warden. I said, okay. So they lock me up, throw me in a room, throw me some psych ward, right? This bitch comes to see me. Oh, well,
Now, why would they put you in a psych ward for trying to escape prison? That doesn't mean you're fucking crazy.
but no, that's the fake news,
Well, I
right?
know. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Right.
I just don't
So they put
understand
me,
that.
right. So they put me in this psych cell, right? And this bitch comes to see me and says, I'm so and so. I'm the psychological. I said, look, you're a shrink. You're a fucking fruitcake. You're a nutcase. Don't talk to me. Get away from my fucking cell door, right? Beat it. She said, well, you wanted to escape. And I'm like, yeah, no shit, lady. She said, well, I want to see if there's anything mentally wrong with you. I said, no, there's nothing mentally wrong with me. I wanted to leave. I'm not crazy.
Right, I just don't want to be here. I mean, at that
Right.
point, you had been
So
in prison since what, 1998, right?
yeah. So I'm like, get the fuck away from me. Right.
Damn
I'm
near
not talking to
10
you.
years.
Right. I'm not talking to you. I'm not crazy because I want to leave. Right. I said, I'm not. She said, well, we just want to make sure you're not suicidal. And I said, honey, I want to leave. I don't want to kill myself. I want to leave. Right. This is how stupid these people are. Right. So I tell her to beat it. Get away from my cell. I ain't talking to your ass.
Well, because I
You know.
feel like if they can deem you, mentally like unstable like that, if they can
Well,
deem you
that.
that way, then they got a reason to lock you in a fucking padded room, keep the
Well, right.
fucking door shut, and just forget about you.
Well, right. That's their plan, right? That's their fake ass plan. Oh, he's mentally unstable. Says who? Says
Then,
you?
then if they deem you mentally unstable, they don't have to take the fall for not
Right.
for essentially fucking not doing their jobs the correct way, allowing you to get as far as you did without finding out and without being secure about it, without being able to make sure that this place is unescapable, that only the warden, but the CEOs or the COs fuck themselves. So if they can deem you crazy, they can be like, hey, crazy, you don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Well, here's the thing that most people need to seriously understand. Okay, there's no such thing, right, as being like insane, right? They just want to. What these people do is try to claim that you are mentally incapable of doing whatever, right? You're mentally unstable. You're mentally this. You're mentally that, right? Psychiatry is the most dangerous profession on the planet because psychiatry is not based on science. It's not based on like medical you know evidence. It's based on opinion. Psychiatrists are based on opinion, so it's their opinion that you're crazy, right? It's my opinion that he's mentally ill, right? That's not science. That's not real, right? You cannot determine somebody on your that somebody is like unbalanced or somebody is this or somebody's crazy based on your opinion, right? How is that scientifically or medically sound based on your opinion, right? Nothing can be based on an opinion. It has to be based on scientific fact, not an opinion.
Well, don't they
And
go to
that's how,
school and learn the scientific facts about it
right,
in
but they
order to
don't.
place that opinion?
Well, they don't, right?
I
There's
mean, I've
no
never went to school for psychology, so I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know what they learn.
right.
I know they
Look,
learn
right,
about brain chemistry
right.
and
Look, psychology, and psychiatrist is the most dangerous profession on the planet because these people, that are empowered through our fake ass government can allow you to be locked up and put away forever based on their opinion. It's not based on a fact. It's
which
based on their opinion,
I mean,
right?
I guess that kind of makes sense in a way.
Right,
I mean, because I've actually had friends that have been to psychiatrists
right.
and
The
been put on
most dangerous thing to get
medication.
rid of.
And when I mean, I know who they are, and I know that they're not fucking crazy. You know what I mean? It's just
Exactly,
there's
exactly.
something that they don't agree with, so they state their opinion or they defy because of their opinion, and all of
Right,
a sudden they're deemed crazy and they need
right,
ADHD medication
right,
and all this shit. And really, in all honesty, all that does is open the door for the fucking pharmaceutical industry to make billions of dollars because if we can indoctrinate these kids and make them, essentially deem that they're crazy because I don't know, they wanted a fucking a pack of Skittles, and
right,
they asked 5 times for it. They're fucking kids. They're supposed to want
right,
Skittles. What are you talking about? So you go
right,
throw them on fucking ADHD medication, and
right.
then I watched friends grow up on ADHD medication, and it turned them into complete fucking drug addicts
Look,
because
they tried it. Right,
when the dosages weren't working anymore, they would go to something stronger like
right.
other
Well,
pills.
here's the main thing. You should never, ever consider putting a child on fucking drugs.
No, I think that is the worst fucking idea ever. I
Okay.
mean,
So when you literally tell people that I have to put your child on drugs, you're a scumbag,
I'm
right?
not firm on that. You know what I mean? Like I really don't agree with what
Right.
I agree with what
My
you're
child,
saying.
my child doesn't need drugs, right? In order to function in society, right? Drugs, the pharmaceutical industry is the main problem in our country, and thankfully RFK is going to shut this shit down, right?
Well, and see, I've seen so many like for instance, Sian when she was having trouble. It was a long time ago when she was like 8 or 9.
Right.
I had told Gabe, I said, I don't want her on no ADHD medicine. I don't fucking believe in that shit. And
Absolutely not.
Gabe agreed with me and Gabe said, "Well, I found this company. It's not really a company. It is, but it's not a pharmaceutical company. They make, these it's in pill form, but it's all organic. It's all organic shit, stuff that it's pretty much plant based. And we tried it for a while and it worked for a while, you know what I mean? And
Right.
we just
But here's the
noticed
thing.
that it made
Right.
her
But
kind of sluggish, you know what I mean? So we
right,
took her
right,
off of it.
right. But here's the thing. Your child, my child, anyone's child, okay, does not need drugs in order to function in society. Right? That's a total fake news joke.
No, no,
Right?
no. I believe that it wasn't a function in society thing. It was more so of a,
No, 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 no. Right, right. But no, it's totally it's wrong. Right? It doesn't there's no way that that should even be applied to any party's child.
well,
Right?
eh,
So if somebody, if they, it's like, say your child just like, well, he's like kind of hyper in school. We need to put him on 80, whatever. No, that's not the case, right? The case is the teacher that our deep state allowed to be in school, right? Which is a tranny and claims that himself is he, her, whatever, right? Claims that your child needs drugs in order to function. That's total bullshit, right? And that's the problem that we're having, right? And that's the problem that everybody's starting to figure out that, hey, wait a minute, my kid doesn't need uh he doesn't have ADHD. Look, these so-called conditions are fake. ADHD is not real. It's totally fake. Right? They create this. Oh, well, your kid has ADHD and he needs Ritalin, right? Ritalin is like giving your kid fucking meth.
yeah,
Is exactly what it is.
To me, Ritalin, and I've seen people on Ritalin. I know people that
Right,
have taken Ritalin,
right.
and
It's
that is
ridiculous.
probably the worst fucking drug that you can give a child.
Right. Well,
Do you know what I mean?
here's the
That
thing. Right,
Ritalin's
right,
enough to take down a fucking adult.
right. Here's the thing. You should never give a child a drug.
Yeah,
Right.
I
That's the
can't.
thing. A child does not need drugs. Right. That's all part of the big pharma shit. Oh, we're going to push this, right? We're going to push that. You have to think about one simple thing. Nobody has ever produced a pharmaceutical drug commercial on TV except for the United States and New Zealand, right? There are no other countries in the entire world that allow pharmaceutical drug commercials. You're looking at a drug commercial that comes on and says, "Oh, well, you have and they create diseases that nobody knows about. You have cornholio, and we got this drug that can fix it. Get a hold of your doctor, but it has 15 million side effects, right? It can make your butthole itch, and it can make you scratch your ass, and there's this and that, and there's headaches and this and that, and it could possibly be death. That's a side effect, but contact your doctor,
Yeah, see,
right?
and I joke about that a lot every time I see them
Right, right.
commercials come on TV.
Where the fuck does that come from, right? Nobody has that except for the United States and New Zealand. There's no countries that have pharmaceutical drug commercials. We never had it. If you're too young, but I remember, growing up. It started in, I'm going to say, 1990, to where you started to see, these drug commercials from big pharma. People like fucking Moderna and whoever, right? Started to make drug commercials telling you that you have a disease, that you should go and see your doctor and tell him and demand that you want this drug. But yet this drug has 15 million side effects, death being one of them, right? But you should still go get it.
Well, and see, that's another thing is why, I understand that there wasn't a cure for a lot of things back in the day. You know what I mean? But there was also a lot of cures for a lot of shit, but it was all natural. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like
right.
the focus thing, for instance. I want to talk about that focus thing for a minute because I'm stuck on
Yeah.
that because the focus thing with the ADHD shit, You know what I mean? There is organic things to help with that, such as different types of mushrooms. You know what I mean? Like I was talking to you about not too
Right.
long
Well,
ago about them
right.
mushrooms that,
Look,
and they're all organic. They're not
yeah.
what do they call it? They're
Look,
not psychedelic,
no, look, the
and they
main
help
one,
you
right,
focus.
right. The main one being lion's mane.
Yes,
Okay.
that was one of the main ones that was in it
Right.
and really helps focus. So why
Yes.
in the fuck, if there is a healthy alternative, and we all know why is there, you're giving kids medication to benefit, because at the high end of it, there is somebody at the very fucking tippy top of that is just milking their pockets.
Yep.
You know what I
Well, the
mean? And
main thing,
it's the
the
same
right, the right, right. The main thing you have to understand is kids do not need any type of medication. They just don't.
I mean,
And
unless there's
we,
seriously something wrong, as in like,
well, look, don't get me wrong. Do you have mentally retarded children? Of course you do. But they don't need drugs. They need to be dealt with by a professional that can handle like their behavior. They don't need drugs, right?
or like epilepsy.
They
Now here's
well,
here's something that like the that kid, I had seen it a while back. I watched this show about this kid who was having seizures. He was having like 20 some a day, like
right.
crazy amount of seizures.
Yeah,
And there was,
until he got some decent THC shit, and he
yeah,
had like
that
run.
guy, there was a guy that was making him, I don't know exactly what he was extracting from the plant,
He was
but
he was he was extracting a certain phenol, and he was from California,
yeah, but
right?
it wasn't the THC. It wasn't, the kid wasn't
No,
getting
right,
high.
it wasn't right. It
And
wasn't.
they essentially, because that's an herbal thing, and it wasn't, he didn't mix anything in with it. He did
No,
nothing but extract pure whatever it was out of the
right.
plant, and
But
they
they tried
threw
to
this
right, but
man in prison for it.
right. They tried to destroy him for the simple fact that he was helping these kids cheaply, and and not running through the big pharma.
And I
Big
know
pharma.
I
Look. This is the main thing you need to understand. RFK Jr. Look, here's the crazy thing, right? This is not about Democrats versus Republicans, right? Everybody thinks that that's what this is. It's not. You have scumbag Democrats, you have scumbag Republicans, right? These are all people that are beholden to drug companies, to whoever, you know, uh, mandates shit to them, right? That's what this is. Now it's come to, this is MAGA, right? This is Make America Great Again. Has nothing to do with Democrats, has nothing to do with Republicans. This has everything to do with being American and being a patriot and to save this country, right? These people are all a bunch of fucking scumbags. They want to sit around and collect money, right? All these people are lobbyists, right? They come in and they say, "Oh yeah, we're going to do this. We're going to, we'll give you 18 million, as long as you vote for us," right? And yet they're destroying our fucking population,
well, and
right?
one thing that,
Everybody's hip to this now, right? Everybody's now waking up to this, going, "Hey, wait a minute," right? That's what we need to push. That everybody wakes up to this, right? Because it's all fake.
well, yeah, I don't, there's a lot of things when it comes to that I don't agree with, but going back to the the pharmaceuticals and the drug companies, you
Yeah,
know
it's
what I
totally
mean?
fake,
It's been no secret that they just line their pockets with all
dude.
this shit. You know what I mean?
It's
They line
insane.
their pockets with diagnosing people with shit that really, when you take a step back and you look at it and you're like,
What the
what?
fuck? Right.
You know,
Look,
like,
all you have to
wait,
do,
what?
all you have to do is look at the fake ass pandemic, right? Look,
Oh,
here's the
listen, that
main.
was the worst thing in the world.
Right,
When that
right,
shit came about and they started popping numbers up like that, I remember one day I was sitting on the couch, and I wasn't even, this had nothing to do with a conversation with you. I was sitting on the couch, and Siobhan, which is my wife, by the way, she said
yeah,
to me, "Do you know that so many people had died this month alone from COVID?" And the number was just absolutely, it was just like the biggest number I'd ever heard of
right,
somebody
totally fake.
dying, right? So when she
Right,
said that
totally fake.
number, and I
Totally fake.
said, "Wait a minute." I said,
Totally fake.
none of this has been advertised on the news. None of this shit. Where the fuck are they coming up with these numbers? And I said it
Right.
right then and there. I said, they're fucking exaggerating.
Right. It's fake.
Now,
It's fake.
fast forward to after the pandemic,
Right. It's fake.
and when everything was coming out, and the CDC flat out came out and said, they came out and said that they had exaggerated the numbers a little bit because they couldn't accurately identify exactly how many people had died. So wait a minute, you mean to tell me that you lied to the American people because
Yes, you
you
did.
just didn't have the numbers, right? That's a
Right.
fucking lie. You lied to the American people, and yet you got dumbasses out here that are still like, oh man, we trust the CDC. They came
Right.
out and said
Look,
they lied to
you
you.
got you
The man,
look.
hold on, the man that invented the COVID test that they were using flat out said this fucking test cannot tell the difference between the flu or COVID or this or that. It is simply a test to essentially pull together as many ideas as it can and
Right.
try to narrow it down to however many sicknesses it could be, but it
Right.
cannot pinpoint which one. Yet they didn't release that shit
Right.
until after the pandemic, after they had raked in all this money, after they had fear-mongered people to see, in my opinion, to see how much how far they could really go and
How
how
far they can
much they
push it.
could, yeah, how far they can
Right.
control you. And they
And guess what?
fucking did it, and they fucking
Right.
know now.
Yeah. And guess what happened to him?
Who? Oh, the guy who invented the test?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea. I haven't heard anything about him since.
He's dead.
What do you mean he's dead? When did he die?
They wasted him 4 years ago.
Really?
They killed it. Yeah. They killed him. All right. They killed him because he admitted that he was going to go against Fauci in the congressional hearings, stating that, the PCR test, I can't think of his name right now.
Me
God.
neither.
All right. But he said, I'm going against Fauci. I'm going to go congressional hearings, right? It's bullshit. This test, I invented it. It does not do anything. 2 weeks after he said that, he was found dead at his California home. Okay. That I'll tell you. Look, these people are so fucking scumbag. They kill people, right? I mean, they kill people.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
how many people that were going to testify against Clinton?
They're dead. They're
And
fucking dead.
and especially the one who, I'm sorry, was, well, what lady? It wasn't Hillary. It wasn't Monica Lewinsky. It was another lady that had flat out admitted that her and Bill Clinton had sex and done all these things, and
Yep.
Hillary Clinton paid this bitch off,
Yep.
and nobody brought that up. That was
Right.
never
Right.
brought up
Right.
ever. And
Right. All of it, right.
Bill Clinton never was charged with anything. Even the
Well, he
Monica
was.
Lewinsky
No, no,
thing.
no, no, no. Listen, he was. Bill Clinton was impeached.
He was
Go look it up.
impeached. He was
Yeah.
never
He,
charged with a crime for
but
violating that
no.
woman, though.
Right. No, but he was impeached, right? But it never went through the Senate to remove him from office. Okay.
Right.
So this is all this fake government shit, right? This all fake ass crap,
Now
right?
here's because there
Now,
was a point to that.
now we have Trump back, right? Pushing what, like, okay, you motherfuckers are going down, and trust me, they are,
Now
right? These people are.
here's my thing with that. This is why I said that, because it brought a really good point to me. Now, when they dropped that fucking shit over, was it Nam? I think it was Agent Orange.
Yep, Agent Orange,
Now, who the fuck was in office when that happened?
Nixon.
Okay, now he dropped Agent Orange knowing that our American soldiers were there, right?
Yep,
Essentially killing thousands and leaving millions with issues because of it. My father in law being one of them
right.
has issues because of it. Was he ever brought up on charges? No, he
No,
wasn't. When
no.
Obama, now,
You know why?
if my neighbor took a drone and with a bomb on it and flew it across the street and killed the neighbor across the street, he'd be brought up on fucking murder charges. Was
No, he
Obama
wouldn't.
brought up on charges?
No, here's the
Obama was
thing.
never brought up on charges
Look,
for
here,
fucking doing that. Neither,
right.
what about Benghazi?
Look. Benghazi was Hillary.
I know
Okay.
that, but was she ever brought up on charges? No, she
No,
wasn't.
right. Here's the thing. They buried all this. For one, you have to understand that Trump back in 2008, it was the first one that came out and stated that Barack Hussein Obama is not an American citizen. His birth certificate is fake. And they called Trump the birther, right? That's when this all started. Okay. Now you have to look at, why did Trump say that? Right? Because it's true. Barack Hussein Obama, which his real name is Barry Soetoro, right, is a fucking phony. He is not born in the United States. He had no business being the president of the United States. The deep state put him in there, right? He's married to a fucking dude, right? Big Mike. That motherfucker ain't no woman, right? It's a man. Uh, what do you call it? Joan Collins was the first one that said, when they interviewed her, going in for a little mild surgery that she had to have on her neck, she said, well, we all know, that, Michelle's, it's gay, she's not a woman, and everybody knows it, right? And what did
Now,
they do?
who said that?
Joan Crawford, or no,
Who's
Joan, what the fuck's her name?
she's an actress,
Ah,
right?
no, the bitch. What the hell's her name? Not Joan Crawford, not Joan Collins. Shit, I just said it. Anyway, she went in and she had to go for this mild surgery, right? And
Wait,
she
was she
died.
the lady with blonde hair?
Yes, and she
Yeah. I know
died.
who you're talking about. I
Right,
can't think of her name either.
right. I can't think of her name. So and she died during the surgery, right? Because she came clean and said, "We all know that, Michelle is trans. It's not a man, or it's not a woman. It's a man, and everybody knows it. There's videos. I can show you videos of her dancing on Ellen and Oprah, and there's a dick swinging in between that bitch's legs, right? It's a dude. Everybody knows it. That's why they didn't push. That's why they pushed Kamala to get rid of Joe, but they wouldn't push Michelle Obama because Michelle Obama is Big Mike. It's not a fucking woman, right? And
Which, by the way, I think that was the worst idea they ever could have done was put Kamala out in front of
well,
anybody.
here's the thing. This is what you have to understand. I don't know if you know, or if anybody that would follow anything that we are currently speaking of, is the Q posts. Okay,
Some people might out there, you know what I mean? Because I do,
listen, and they
while not everybody who hears this is a fan of Trump, and that's okay if they aren't. That's all right. You don't
that's
have to be
fine.
a
They
fan
may
of them.
They may not they may not be right.
You're an
But when
American
you
citizen, and you have your right as an
right
American citizen, which
you can vote for whoever you want, right? But you need to be able to vote legally, right? Which we don't have legal elections. They're totally fake. Look at fucking Arizona. They're still counting votes, right? The election was a month ago.
and that's what I don't. It's another thing I don't understand. You know what I mean? I remember when Barack made it into office and Bush made it into office, and
Right. And Barack is
when
not even an
when
American citizen.
when Bush and who was it? Al Gore. When Bush
Yep.
and Gore uh essentially when they had theirs, there was a recount for a day. It took one day for them to recount, and correct my memory if I'm wrong, because I was young. But I remember it took a day or two for them to recount. When they recounted and they figured out that George Bush indeed did win, uh, that was it.
Which
I
was a lie.
remember elections would happen in a day or two. Nothing
Right. But
took no fu-
that
and
was right.
the fact that we are so technologically advanced, you're telling me that now versus hand counting ballots that it takes a month to count ballots when 10, 15 years ago, 20 years ago it took a day to maybe 3
Right.
at the
Right.
most.
Right. This is their cheat. Okay. They have been stealing elections, Terry, for the past 50 years. Do you honestly think people like, let's say, Nancy Pelosi, okay, from fucking San Francisco, do you literally think that people have been voting her in for 46 years? You've
Do
got
I
to be
believe that?
Right. You've got to be a fucking retard.
Well, no,
Yep.
because in all honesty, I mean, I don't think that our elections have always been fake.
Yes, they have.
Do I
They have
think that?
our elections. Listen, this is the thing. All right, you're gonna have, look. I'm gonna explain this to you, and you have all your listeners. Go look up a guy named Jerome Corsi.
Spell it.
C O R Jerome Corsi. Jerome Corsi. Okay. This stuff was all pre-planned. Okay. These people have been stealing elections since the 1940s. Right.
Okay, so
They
that's what
have
I
been.
mean. They weren't always like that. There
Oh no,
had to
but
have been a point in time where they were actually legit elections, if that's
yeah,
what you're saying.
but you're looking at from 1930s, bro. Right? We're looking at from the
Now,
1940s
why do you say that they were why do you say that they're not real though? I never really understood that
because
when you said it.
listen,
I don't get it.
because they're not real.
So
Right?
why
Look,
go through the process of making the American people think that they have the right to choose when they don't?
right. Well, you just said it. You just said it. They're trying to convince you that you're the one that's voting for who's going to be in office,
So if
right?
Trump was so bad and he was such a bad person and they didn't want him in office,
But
then
you're
why would
not.
he be in office?
I'm going to tell you why. Okay. What happened was this all came down after years and years of stolen elections, right? And
Well, I
I
can
mean,
agree with that because if you look at who was it that just had that election where everybody voted for what was that, Venezuela?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it was
Look,
Venezuela, wasn't it?
Javier Milei is the coolest, baddest motherfucker you're ever going to see. That's going to turn around Venezuela. Okay,
Yeah, but
trust
he
me on
didn't
that.
get in, I thought. I thought that
Yes,
they
he did. Oh, yes, he did. He made it. You know why? Because look, and I'm going to tell you who changed all this is Elon Musk. Right? Why do you think Elon Musk is hanging with Trump? Why do you think
now, a
Trump
lot of
gave?
people are going to say that the reason he's hanging with Trump is because of the fact that he has the technology and the money, I guess, to back it, that he can
Yeah,
easily manipulate votes.
no, 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 no. That's the fake news talk. Elon Musk was given when Trump was president. Trump gave Elon Musk the largest defense contract in the United States history, right? Because NASA, right, our typical NASA, right? Oh, we're sending the space shuttle up. We're going to the moon, right? All fake as fuck, right? NASA is fake as fuck. He gave the largest defense contract to Elon Musk.
And a lot of
Elon Musk,
people would agree with you about that, given the fact that there's a
right?
lot of people who think the moon landing was fake.
It is fake.
And there's a
It's
lot of
totally
things that don't add up with that.
no, it's totally fake. So he gave Elon Musk the largest defense contract, not to be like the fake, oh, we're going to send, to the space station. No, Trump gave Elon Musk this defense contract in order to put thousands of satellites out there that could pick up everything that's going on from the deep state that are lying, cheating, stealing elections, stealing this, stealing that, everything, right? And they have it all. When you look at the video that Trump says, oh, well, we caught them all. We got them all their DMs. Let's see what happens to them all, right? This kind of shit doesn't happen overnight, okay? This shit takes time.
And I think that's what a lot of the American people who did vote for Trump
Right.
and who stand
They
for
all
Trump,
think
they're waiting for answers.
right. Well, they all think, like some people think like, well, how come hasn't anybody been arrested? Trust me, they have. They just arrested a judge in fucking Minnesota, an election judge, right? Right? For allowing certain crooked votes to go. They just arrested him yesterday. Trust me,
And
dude.
now people can find this because people are going to go look for it.
Oh yeah, you can go look this up right now,
Who was the?
right?
Do you remember the judge's name for the listeners so
No,
they can
but
go look?
he just type in election judge arrested in Minnesota for illegal. I got it. I sent it to you. It's on your fucking Telegram, right?
Okay.
I forward everything to you, right? Just go look, scroll through it, right? He got arrested, right? All of it is fake, bro. All of it is fake.
All
You see
right.
the news media, right? All of a sudden, the news media goes down. The fake ass Mika and Joe Scarborough, them fucking scumbags. Joe Scarborough used to MSNBC. He used to be a fucking uh, a congressman, right? And then there had this bad incident that happened at Joe Scarborough's office where one of his employees was killed. They found her dead, like in his office in the Capitol, right? He got shit canned, thrown out of the fucking Senate, right, or the Congress, right? And they tried to cover it up. He killed this fucking broad. He raped her and killed her. Okay, they're trying to cover that up. That's why this cocksucker is no longer in the fucking Congress and he's on the MSNBC news. Nobody understands that MSNBC, all the news media, all the fake news, MSNBC, CNN, CBS, ABC, these people that they have hired for them that are like so-called, news anchors, these people are all ex-CIA and ex-FBI, right? And they're
Well,
out there putting news.
well,
That's 100% true. You can go look it up. Go look up Joe Scarborough. Look what he used to be. Go look up any of these people that are on MSNBC, CBS, CNN. Go look them up. They're all ex FBI and CIA.
okay. Well, we're gonna have to wrap it up. It's been about an hour, so but I want to get into more of that. So we're gonna
Yeah,
have to do another episode
yeah,
because I'd like to get into more of that so people can do their own research and figure out for themselves and hopefully open their eyes and realize what the government has been lying to them about.
right. Let me tell
So
you something. The government has been lying to us for our entire lives. And this is what people need to wake up and see. And most people have, right? I have. I never paid any attention to politics, bro. You know that, right? Never. I never voted. I didn't give a shit, right? I figured, it's all a bunch of bullshit, right? Until Trump showed up. And if you and here's the main thing. Go Google Jerome Corsi. Okay.
all right,
Jerome Corsi.
everybody who's listening, go Google him.
Jerome
Um,
Corsi.
and
Right.
we'll be back with another episode diving deeper into this because I do want to get deeper into this. We just
Yeah.
kind of got sidetracked, but it's
Right.
coming up on an hour now, so
Right.
I'm gonna go ahead
Right.
and we're gonna end the
Right.
podcast, but I'm gonna bring Bob back. We'll have another episode on this shortly here because I'd really like to
Right.
dive into
But
it.
look at
So,
right. But look up Jerome Corsi for the one main reason is that the military, certain military, right, and the not the fake military like Trump. When you watch him do like a rally or whatever, he always tells you, right? Trump speaks in riddles, right? When he says not the fake military guys you see on TV, the real military. The real military came to Trump and said, "Listen, we got to take these people down. They're trying to destroy America. We want you to run for president, and we need to put you in." That's who Jerome Corsi is all about. Go look up Jerome Corsi.
okay,
That's why Trump is where he is today.
all right, well. That's going to do it for this session of the podcast. You've been riding with the Outlaws of Opinion for the last hour, where, like I told you, no topic is off limits and the truth stays buried. Uh, it's not about fitting in, it's about standing up and speaking up. So keep
That's exactly
questioning,
right.
keep challenging, and keep living free. And until next time, stay bold, stay loud, and stay unapologetically you. We will see you next time.
Yes, we will. And down with Whitmer.